Hi, it's me, Darwin, the bear man thing. I just wanted to take a moment and say I hit 53 subscribers on YouTube. This is actually quite a milestone for me. It might seem like a small number to some, but to me it means the absolute world. Thank you for your support, and I'm sure that I've probably made some people laugh and other people cringe and more people cringe and myself cringe, but it's thanks to that I at least feel a bit motivated to keep doing this. This video is going to be quite a bit different from my standard videos. This one's a bit more of a theory crafting because I've seen nobody else come up with this type of theory on murder drones, and it's been bugging me for a while. So yeah, this is the video, more or less. Yeah, it's a dumb little theory, but so yeah, thank you for listening to this little opening bit. I'll go ahead and start the video intro in just a minute, but I just wanted to let you know you're all my employees. For those who might not know what murder drones is, this is a little bit of an explanation. The best way I can describe it is Terminator plus WALL-E had a chaotic robot love child with a lot of knives and drama like sprinkled all over it. Basically, these killer robots landed on a planet. Other robots hid from those robots. Blah 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 blah. Anyways, love story. It somehow turned into a teen romance. I don't know about it. I don't know how. I don't know why. I love it though. I have two big questions. So, first off, we find out through the course of the series that the drones had to land their pod on Copper 9, Copper 9 being the name of the planet. So, let's talk about those pods. The landing pods. I've heard everybody refer to them as landing pods. I don't remember at any point if anybody referred to them as something else. I watched like 5 episodes at 4 times speed in order to get this done on time. Since I only had like a day and a half to work on this. My personal theory goes, now hear me out, this might be a little stupid, but the first landing pod that we ever see crash landed. We confirmed it was a crash landing, but there has to be more to the story. There's no way that it crash lands and nothing else happens. Like, a lot was set up for it, being like a pyramid of corpses around it. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I have a whole second theory on like the solver, and I believe it's episode 5, where there's that unique symbol version of the solver rather than the standard triangle shaped one. I wonder if that means anything special, but I have to take time and look at that. We know that N was the pilot of that first pod. At the end of the pilot, there's 3 additional pods shown coming in for landings, and I believe episode 3 or so, by the way, I've gone completely off script, episode 3 or so, we do actually see what happens to those pods. 2 of them crash. The last one landed properly, and it had Tessa and Jay. Do I think that's a coincidence? No. In fact, my actual thinking is that in those 2 crash pods are copies of N, our main homeboy, which leads into the next part, Tessa. Now, major spoiler warnings for anybody who hasn't watched it. I should probably do that first. I'll add a clip at the end. So major spoiler warnings. Tessa is actually Sin. Sin being an abomination. A demon, you could say, a literal demon, a monster, an eldritch entity. What if she's not actually wearing Tessa's skin? Like, oh, okay, so it's shown in the show that she's wearing Tessa's skin at like the big reveal in episode 6 or 7, I want to say. But during parts of the episode where like she used her human bits to interact with some of the environment around her, those human bits didn't work. Like that one funny scene with the printer just says access denied or something, and then with the dingoes, what if it didn't work because it's not actually skin or actually human? What if they're clones or replicas or something that the solver made up? Stay with me now, I'm cooking. The pods came from a mothership. Now that mothership is what brought them to the system, because it shows the pods coming to the planet. It doesn't show the pods leaving Earth or nothing. But what if that was the plot of season 2? Like, they were gonna find the ship. They were gonna be able to go confront the actual Sin. Or what if they only encountered one version of Sin? Okay, first up, let's go look at the landing pods. So I don't have any images to describe it. If I do, post me will pop it up on screen. If he doesn't, that's because he's too lazy. It's like a pod. It's like a Doritos pattern. Doritos bag. It's like an octagon with legs. You're not telling me that can go cross space. And from the name landing pod, that implies that something else takes it from planet to another planet. What if they came from a bigger ship? I know I already said that, but they came from a bigger ship. That bigger ship drops them off, and that bigger ship is crewed with copies and copies of all the drones that were, and has multiple Sin Tessa hybrid things on it. The biggest holes with these theories is, one, it's never shown in the show itself, and two, yeah, I'm reaching a lot. Like, this is my arms fully extended. I'm reaching straight for that, you know, I don't know, ball of Doritos, I guess. Might as well keep it up. But the implications that these theories could have, especially the one with the mothership and Tessa's skin not actually being real skin, because if you remember during episode 5, Home, Sin didn't want to kill Tessa. Why would Sin not want to kill Tessa and then kill her later on? Not only that, but the Sin that appears in the show, the Tessa we see, is a much older Tessa than the one that appears during the gala. Like, bare bones, we know that the events of episode 5 happen a number of years before the events of the actual series itself, because this is a lot of stupid stuff that I'm reaching for, but this goes into my this is stuff that I'm off script by a long shot, so might as well add more. You know, Uzi made the username when she was 8. She was 8 years old, which would imply that 8 years has passed since the events of Sin taking over. Now we know by fact that the events of Sin taking over happened a minimum of a day before the events that happened at the beginning of, I want to say, episode 7, where it's revealed, like, Uzi's mom was taken over by Sin. And since we can conclude easily that Sin is above the age of 8, it's been a long number of years. In other words, the Tessa we should be seeing, and if we took a guess and say she was like 12 or 13 during the events of episode 5, then she's probably in her early 20s to late 20s, depending on where, you know, that whole situation happened, which would be a bit more accurate with the Tessa that we see during the events of the show. Now, would Sin be smart enough to, like, oh, hey, let's not use the original Tessa, let's use a slightly grown up Tessa? Probably. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that she'd do that. Because it helps her out a bit. Now, going back to the implications of the series. So, if the pods are coming from a larger mothership, this would suggest that we've only seen a small part of the larger threat. We know the solver can inhabit multiple bodies simultaneously. So is it possible that Sin is just one of many? That the Sin-Tessa hybrid thing that we saw is just one of like 50? I'm willing to take a bet on that. So to reiterate, what if the solver has multiple bodies? Each body is like a gateway to control more bodies. Like if you ever play Warhammer, which I'm a huge fan of, I will be getting the game once it goes live tomorrow. What if she can just, you know, use that body as like a host of a synaptic link to control other bodies nearby? That's my overall theory here. So this would mean that there are several hybrids scattered around, each playing crucial role in the solver's operations. The mothership could be responsible for deploying these teams and carrying out the plans. It would make the threat so much bigger. It would make the existential horror of it all like slightly less, since it's like, well, it's a well-organized team and all that. So in my opinion, it should just be a giant spaceship that's alive. That would make it so much worse. We're like made out of human flesh. Now, going back to the other implication, what if Sin isn't actually wearing Tessa's skin? This would allow for the multiple Sin Tessa theories to work out. But it also, here's a fun little thing. At the end of episode 8, we see the solver inhabiting the same body as Uzi. Now, it's very clear that Uzi's personality is in charge, at least I hope. So would that happen to mean that that is the only version of the solver? Or what if one version of the solver, since it now has a host with an OS that's working, will now work better under Uzi? Like, it's clearly annoying the fuck out of her with the little bow, like, would you consider a bow? And she's just standing there staring at the camera and then closes the locker. That shit was funny as hell. But if there are multiple Tessa, I guess. It raises the question, what if one of them encounters the Solver version of Uzi? And would that version of the Solver work to defend the host? Now here's an even weirder idea. I had mentioned at the beginning that there were 2 other crash pods. They had both crashed alongside with Tessa and Jay. So what are the chances that in those pods are clones of N and V, or even J? What if those 2 other pods are just ready to burst? What if they even have a version of Sin as like backups and they just didn't get active? We already know that N is a pilot. Why he's a pilot, it was never explained. Why would he be put in charge of that? Huh? That's a good question, ain't it? Now, our dopey little himbo is amazing at avoiding horror stuff, but we do know that there are clones of each drone, and they have a method to take out a drone if they proceed to go against a quote-unquote company. We saw that in episode 1 when Jay put that little disc on him and it started deleting his memories. What if that also allowed him to act out? What if that gave him a slight immunity to the Solver? How interesting. Other theories to go over a different time. Now, assuming that the Solver has a lot more resources at its disposal, which, in case you doubt it, it's really, really supported, especially with the ending of episode 3, where Jay is in fact, alive and not dead like she should be. And the line that she delivers in episode 8, there's no escape even in death. I know I'm saying that wrong because I watched it at like 5 times speed. I missed a lot of details to get this theory out. But it does imply that even if the drones themselves are destroyed, the Solver has a way to continue whatever it's doing without losing anyone, or at least any of its pets. It's very clear it does see the murder drones as pets. Like, it could have just taken control of all of their bodies, right? Why didn't it, actually? In fact, here's a unique set of questions, right? Why didn't it just take control of them? Like, it had some level of control over V and J, and made a deal with V that it would let them live out their lives as long as she kept up her deal, which was to do a good job. And then it clearly didn't hold up its side of the bargain, or so we think. What if it had a deployed version of itself just waiting for V to fuck up in orbit with the 3 pods, because the ship came off, dropped the pods, and then left? Ooh, so many theories. Anyways, yeah, that's the end of this one. Darwin, you're gonna do an outro already. Cut this out or leave this in, and curse at me if you want or something. I don't know. You're the future me. You deal with this. Okay, thank you. Bye. Hi, if you're watching this far, thank you for watching. This is Darwin in post. Yeah, I left in some footage. I'm also going to be adding a little blooper where my head tracking lost tracking because my phone almost died. I think that was kind of funny. Well, yeah, if you're watched this far, thank you. Give me a like, subscribe. Okay, yeah, no, that's it. It's only like 5 seconds of that guy doing stupid things, but yeah, have a great one. Bye. Oh, hey, real quick, yeah, sorry about the lower quality on this video. I didn't have a lot of time to get it pounded out because, like, work and other things and work and yeah, you get an idea. Anyways, bye.